The View moderator, Whoopi Goldberg, is explaining why people want the popular talk show off their televisions. It has long been a controversial series, and even more so when it comes to political matters. Now, Whoopi is opening up about the show's struggles. Keep reading for more details. Whoopi Goldberg explains why people want The View gone. There have been many times when viewers have said they're done with The View. It could be due to the bickering between the hosts or the topics being discussed. Oftentimes, followers have opted out of watching because of their political hot takes, feeling it is too liberal. The View is disgusting. Once again, the most uneducated, ignoramus, hateful women, espousing their view on something they know nothing about. Some also do not believe the topics are diversified or unbiased, which has also become an issue. Yet, does moderator, Whoopi Goldberg, believe that there is more to the hatred of the show? Whoopi Goldberg. She has been helping her co-host, Joy Behar, with her off-Broadway show in which Whoopi will be a guest. Regardless, all of their popularity cannot always help the show. The Oscar-winning actress shared this about why people do not care for the show. People assume that we believe whatever they believe that we believe. Unfortunately, that did not track for some people, so Whoopi attempted to make her point again, and more clearly. People believe that they know everything I think and believe. They don't, but one of the ways that you learn what people believe is to hear them talk. One of the things that people would love to see is, people are always saying, you should take The View off television. You know why? Because we give you an opportunity. We don't tell you what to think. In her mind, this is a safe place to express feelings with no judgment. The ladies share their thoughts and hot takes, but ultimately, the viewer decides if it is for them or not. Now, not everyone believes this to be true. Sometimes, they think that the women force ideas down their throats, which can be debated. Open-ended conversations. Whoopi Goldberg emphasized that everyone has different opinions on The View. That is what makes the show great and lasting for nearly 30 years. It started off as a concept from Barbara Walters and has been going ever since 1997. Despite rotating hosts, the idea that women have value in what they think is always there. Whoopi went on to say this about her and her co-hosts. We say, this is what I think. Alyssa will say, this is what I think. Joy will say, this is what I think. And when we do that, that is how you have the dialogue. It's not personal, you know? Sometimes somebody will say, that shirt looks a little tight on you, Whoopi, but that's not a bad thing. She wanted it to be known that they can say how they feel, and there should be no repercussions. Whoopi did add that a difference of opinion should not lead to people talking badly about the hosts or their families. That is crossing a line that they claim they won't cross. Do you think The View should be cancelled, or are you still a fan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The View, ABC's iconic daytime talk show, has been a lightning rod for controversy since its inception in 1997. Known for its bold discussions on politics, culture, and social issues, the show has sparked both admiration and ire from its audience. Recently, moderator Whoopi Goldberg spoke out about the persistent calls to cancel the program, offering insight into why some viewers want it off the air and defending its role as a platform for open dialogue. As its 30th anniversary, Goldberg's comments have reignited debates about free speech, media bias, and the value of diverse perspectives in television. Here's an in-depth look at the controversy, Goldberg's response, and what it means for the future of The View. A polarizing legacy. Why The View divides audiences. Since its creation by Barbara Walters, The View has been a trailblazer in daytime television, providing a platform for women to share their opinions on everything from politics to pop culture. Over the years, the show has featured a rotating cast of hosts, including Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Goldberg herself, who has served as moderator since 2007. The diversity of perspectives among the hosts, ranging from liberal to conservative, has been both a strength and a source of contention. For many fans, The View is a refreshing space where women's voices are amplified and tough topics are tackled head-on. However, the show's outspoken nature has also drawn significant backlash. Viewers have frequently criticized the hosts for their political hot takes, with some labeling the show as overly liberal or biased. Social media platforms like X have become battlegrounds for these sentiments, with posts such as, "The View is disgusting, just a bunch of loudmouths pushing their agenda." Once again, the most uneducated, ignoramus, hateful women espousing their view on something they know nothing about. Critics often argue that the show lacks diversity in its topics or fails to present balanced viewpoints, accusing the hosts of forcing their opinions on the audience. Others have taken issue with the on-air bickering between co-hosts, which can sometimes feel more like a shouting match than a constructive debate. These frustrations have led to recurring calls for The View to be cancelled, with detractors claiming it has outlived its relevance or become too divisive. Whoopi Goldberg's response: a defense of open dialogue. In a recent episode of The View, Whoopi Goldberg addressed these criticisms head-on, offering a candid explanation for why the show elicits such strong reactions. The Oscar-winning actress and longtime moderator argued that much of the backlash stems from misconceptions about the show's purpose and the host's intentions. People assume that we believe whatever they believe that we believe, Goldberg said, acknowledging the tendency of viewers to project their assumptions onto the hosts. She went on to clarify, people believe that they know everything I think and believe. They don't, but one of the ways that you learn what people believe is to hear them talk. Goldberg emphasized that The View is not about dictating what viewers should think but rather about fostering a space where ideas can be shared freely. We don't tell you what to think, she insisted. We give you an opportunity. In her view, the show's strength lies in its ability to present a range of opinions, even if they spark disagreement. By allowing hosts like Behar, Hostin, and Griffin to express their individual perspectives, The View encourages viewers to engage critically with the issues and form their own conclusions. To illustrate her point, Goldberg used a lighthearted analogy. Sometimes somebody will say, "That shirt looks a little tight on you, Whoopi, but that's not a bad thing." She argued that sharing opinions, even when they differ, is a natural part of dialogue and should not be taken personally. However, she drew a firm line at personal attacks, noting that while differences of opinion are welcome, targeting the hosts or their families crosses an ethical boundary. A platform for diverse voices. Goldberg's comments reflect the core philosophy of The View, which was envisioned by Walters as a forum for women to discuss issues that matter to them. Over its nearly 3-decade run, the show has stayed true to this vision, even as its roster of hosts has evolved. Each co-host brings a unique perspective: Behar's liberal humor, Hostin's legal expertise, Griffin's conservative insights, and Goldberg's moderating pragmatism, creating a dynamic that is both engaging and polarizing. Goldberg highlighted this diversity as a key factor in the show's longevity. We say, "This is what I think." Alyssa will say, "This is what I think." Joy will say, "This is what I think," she explained. And when we do that, that is how you have the dialogue. By presenting a spectrum of viewpoints, The View aims to spark conversation rather than enforce consensus, a mission that Goldberg believes is often misunderstood by its critics. The show's commitment to open-ended conversations has allowed it to remain relevant in an ever-changing media landscape. From tackling landmark political events to debating cultural trends, The View has consistently provided a platform for women's voices at a time when such spaces were scarce. However, this same commitment has made it a target for those who disagree with its tone or content, particularly in an era of heightened political polarization. The backlash. Do critics have a point? While Goldberg's defense of The View resonates with its supporters, critics argue that the show's approach is not as neutral as she claims. Some viewers feel that the hosts, particularly those with liberal leanings, dominate discussions and marginalize conservative perspectives. Alyssa Farah Griffin, one of the show's more conservative voices, has occasionally faced pushback from her co-hosts, leading some fans to argue that the show leans too heavily to the left. Others contend that The View prioritizes sensationalism over substance, focusing on divisive topics to boost ratings rather than fostering meaningful dialogue. The frequent clashes between hosts, while entertaining for some, can alienate viewers who prefer a more measured approach to discourse. These criticisms have fueled calls to cancel the show, with detractors arguing that it exacerbates division rather than bridging it. On the other hand, supporters of The View argue that its willingness to tackle controversial issues is precisely what makes it valuable. In an era where media outlets are often accused of pandering to specific audiences, The View stands out for its unapologetic approach to tough topics. Fans appreciate the host's candor and the opportunity to hear perspectives that might differ from their own, even if they don't always agree. Whoopi's broader role, balancing The View and beyond. Goldberg's comments come at a time when she is juggling multiple roles, both on and off The View. In addition to her duties as moderator, she has been collaborating with co-host Joy Behar on Behar's off-Broadway show, where Goldberg is set to appear as a guest. This project, along with her ongoing work as an actress and producer, underscores her status as a multifaceted entertainer. However, her high-profile presence has not shielded The View from criticism, and her recent remarks suggest a determination to defend the show's legacy. As the face of The View, Goldberg bears much of the responsibility for navigating its controversies. Her ability to address criticism with humor and clarity has been a hallmark of her tenure, but it has not always been enough to silence detractors.